Hello everyone, welcome to part 13 of our project. And now that most of the assets are done, I'm gonna show you something a little bit different. This part is gonna be about the asset library that has been introduced in Blender in version 3.0, I think. So this is what we're gonna do today. So first of all, go to Edit, Preferences, and then in File and Path, you have here Asset Libraries, and this allows you to set up a folder where you will have all the Blender files that will be used as Asset Library. I already have one here, and I'm just gonna rename it Alchemist Workshop. Okay, and then you can point to any directory you want. Mine is the directory finishing with the name library. And so now what I can do is prep this file so that it will be used as a place where I will gather all my resources and from where I can after that take them all. So I'm gonna delete everything in the scene for the moment and save the file in the folder where I saved my library in here, and I will call it AW for Alchemist Workshop library, just like that. Okay, and now the idea here is to import all the assets we've created so far for the project. Let's do that now. So to do this, go to File and choose Append. This will allow you to import any data from only another blend file to the current file. And because all the other assets are inside blend files, that will work. So let's click on that, and now I just have to go to where my mesh are. We are gonna start with that. Okay, when you open a file, you will see all the data block, and I'm looking for an object. And of course, you can see the importance of renaming all your objects and materials correctly. I know that this cube here is my table, but of course, if there were a lot of other objects, it might have been difficult for me to find it. Now let's name it table correctly, like that. Make sure the scale is 111. So I will apply the scale. Okay. And now I'm gonna delete the material that is assigned to it. And we've got our table. I'm gonna improve it a little bit by adding a bevel modifier on the edges so that they don't look as sharp as they did. And let's modify the values to be like slightly like that. Okay, now I've got my table ready, and what I need to do is save the file. Okay, and in here, in the outliner, I can right click on my table and then use mark as asset. You can see now that there is a little kind of library icon just beside it. This means this is marked as an asset. And let's say I will save the file. If I start a new file like that. Okay, now what I can do, I'm gonna delete everything which is already here, is cut my view into two, as we did once before, and then in this area choose Asset Browser, and then you can go from here, look in your current file if there are assets, or go to the one I set up earlier called Alchemist Workshop, and then we can see that I have my table. Okay, I can drag and drop this in my scene whenever I want, wherever I want, and you can see it has added the object into my scene. I still have the modifier bevel on it, just in case I wanted to change its settings, but it's there, and I can add as many tables as I want. I'm gonna do that with all the other objects from the project, and just as an example, let's open again what I used as a library just before, and let's import a material. So go again in File, Open, and then browse to where you will have a material shader, a material created. Let's go to the metal lesson and find the one, okay, and this time going to the material folder and choose, I think I call this learning. Let's have a look. If I assign it to this object, now that I have it here, what I can do is right click, then mark as asset again. I can remove it from the table. Okay, and now what we've got in our asset library, if I open it again down below, now we've got this material. I might change its name to metal. Okay, and now we've got our metal and our table. Okay, let's do that for all the other objects. I'm gonna speed up the recording, or maybe cut it, so that we arrive at the end. After a bit of work, I think I've got almost everything I need here. All the assets we've created so far, plus the materials. What I could do is add in categories, so that I can find them maybe a bit easier. So this is like all and unassigned, but if I click on the plus sign here, I'll have a new catalog. Let's call that objects, and I'm going to create a new one called materials. Okay, now I'm going to drag and drop not this is in the materials, and in the materials, like that. Okay, and all the unassigns are the objects. Let's select them all and copy them into the material folder. This you can have folder and then subfolders, but that should be enough like this to have it organized. Now let's save the file, and we can see it's saved in the file. Alright, so now that the asset library is all filled up with our objects and materials, what we're gonna do next is build the actual workshop. For this, I have created 3 images. Okay, we're gonna set up almost like we used to do. I'm gonna delete all this for the moment, and I'm gonna bring the 2 other images. And this is supposed to be like that. Okay, let's set this way. So the dark areas are either the walls or the floor or the 4 pillars in the middle. We've got a little bit darker here, the chimney, and then we've got all the other objects. Okay, so that I set up at 0 is the floor. Okay, so now, because we can see the table like that. This goes like this, okay, on this side, and the last one is the front view. And it goes like that. Okay, let's raise it up like this, and then I can move it on the x-axis, just this way. So now we've got our interior, okay, and know that the outside walls, so what is at the bottom here in dark, and the outside area is 7 by 7 meters. So what I'm gonna do is add a cube and set its size to 7 by 7. Okay. And now what I need to do is scale the reference images so that it fits this square. Okay, it's scaling just a bit on the side like that. That's okay. I can move it then again in this direction. Okay, feels okay. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. That's just to help us build the workshop. Doesn't have to be like 1 millimeter correct on this kind of things. I'm just gonna raise it again to 0 level, and now we've got the base of our workshop. I'm gonna send this to a new collection as I used to do. Call that helper. Change this filter so that I can not select it. Okay. Now what I can do is show you just a bit how I would go about creating the walls. I can create a plane. This plane I'll make again 7 by 7, and then in edit mode what I can do is inset the interior of the plane, the only faces it has, this way, okay, and then extrude up the other sides up to here, except for the moment. And now we've got our walls. What would be good to do is extrude again, okay, and then remove this faces here, and then select those edges and close the gap with the F key, and these edges, and close the gap again, so that now if we are inside we got a ceiling. Okay, of course we can't see through, so that's not a good thing. So what we can do is first of all call that walls, and then I can just hide them for the moment. And now let's bring our assets library, Alchemist Workshop, and let's see here we've got the table. So why don't we just add a table here and then adjust its position to fit here. And look, it's exactly the right size. You can do and add a chair as well. I will go here, then we can just duplicate here to fit the rest of the furniture like that, and up, here we go. We got already this area with the table. Now we should do everything else almost the same way. So I'm gonna do it area per area. Okay. On top of the table, I can see that I have the chemistry kit. Oh, there you go. So the chemistry kit, to make sure it is included as one object in the asset library, what I did is having one group like that, one collection, and then I did instance to scene. So I have now another one here, and I use this as the object marked as assets. Now I have so the chemistry kit and its copy. I can remove the copy and then only modify this. If I move it now here, it's like, let's do it like that. Okay, it's here. And on the table, maybe a bit on the left. And here we go. Okay, what's again on the table? You've got the sunglass. Sunglass, where is it? It's here. Let's place it here. Okay. Let's see from the top where it is supposed to be. Somewhere like that. Okay. Maybe it's a bit taller. Okay. Yes, that's no, that's not perfect. That's perfect. Okay. It's a bit inside the table, so let's do it like that. And so I think we're done with the table. What's next? And is the bookshelf. You can add it here. Okay, and change the direction. That's pretty much it. Okay. We've got also our chandelier. It's supposed to be somewhere here. Okay, again, let's align it to the reference. It's not the same size, but that doesn't really matter. Okay. And then push it up here, like that. What we can see is that it goes a bit above the roof. So what I will do is select the walls, look through it, and then maybe I can raise the walls a bit up so that it fits the chandelier, so that we can have the entirety of the chandelier inside the place. Okay. Now I have somewhere here at the back we've got our bookshelf. In here, let's place it in the corner. Okay, it's a bit smaller than the reference, but that doesn't matter really. We can leave it here for the moment and we'll see if we modify it later on. And on this side there was a shelf, so maybe I can just copy my bookshelf at the moment. Okay, place it here. Or maybe I will just rotate it a little bit, like that, 90 degrees, and place it in the corner. Okay, something like that. And this, just offset it a bit. Okay, and we've got here a small tool, just right here in front of this. Why not? Let's do it a little bit like that. And what's left? What's left? We've got our cauldron, which is supposed to be here inside the chimney. We will have to do the chimney later on. Okay. Let's move it like that, so that the handles are on the side. Okay. So if I look at all of this, I think we are almost done with the object we already have. We have still the potion bottles and the test tubes. I'm gonna move a few in this area here. Okay. And place a few like this. Whoa, there might be a big bee. Let's place them all first, and then we will reduce their size all at once. Like that. Okay, maybe a bit more. I want this to like this. Okay. Something like that. Okay, and now we've got our interior. Oh, the test tubes. I can place them here maybe. Oh, and they are too big as well, but we can reduce their size. Okay, let's like this and like this. That feels good enough. Okay, perfect. So our room is almost filled. I can have, let's say I'm gonna move all of these objects into a collection and call it objects. Okay, so I have the helper, the objects, the chemistry kit, I'm gonna move it into the objects, and the walls, and I'm gonna move it to a collection named structure, for example. And first I'm gonna add the 4 pillars that we can see here. So I'm gonna add now I can scale it this way and scale it on the z-axis to be like tall enough. I think this will do. It's a bit higher, but then it will just go into the wall and the ceilings, so we won't see it. And now I can copy one like that here and these two guys here. We've seen from the references that they are not totally aligned. That's perfect. It doesn't really matter, it's an alchemist workshop, it doesn't need to be set perfectly. And we also have our window, and there is a door here on the side. So for this, I'm gonna do another cube here. I'm gonna set to the side of this window, something like that. Let's select our helpers and make them a bit less opaque. Make sure this is okay. So let's hide the object. Okay. I'm gonna move it here and I'm gonna use it as a boolean with the walls, and the same with the door. So I'm gonna duplicate the mesh while in edit mode so that those are the same objects. Place it somewhere here, so it will be where the door will be, and then I will give it the shape of the door, which is about okay. That will do as well. And because the walls are the same object and the floor, we shouldn't have this below the floor. So at 0, I'm gonna make them all at 0 like that. Okay, now we got those this object. Let's select it again, change its name. Window door boolean. Okay, let's call these guys. I'm gonna join them and call them B because I'm running out of name. And this make them a boolean. So on the walls I can have a boolean modifier. Select here the window door boolean and make it different. I think that's it. And if I here support display, that's here bounce. Okay, now I have my door and window. Okay, inside my space, which is tiny, but it's enough on Alchemic Workshop. And then we've got all the objects here inside. Okay, so that's ready. What we'll do next will be to texture all our objects. Maybe we'll finish the structure of the place, meaning we are gonna do the chimney and then maybe the door, the windows, and just beam a little bit and these kind of things. Okay, maybe separate the walls so that we can maybe take off part of it so that we can still see the interior without having to remove the walls. I'm gonna think about something, maybe cut this area here. Okay, but for the moment I think that's enough. But you've seen once all the elements are done how fast it's gonna be like to set up the final place. And then of course we'll have all the VFX to add to this project, and we're gonna see that after. Hopefully this was good enough as a lesson. It wasn't complicated, but of course we need to vary the difficult and the simple times. I hope you understand that for me as well. I will see you in the next lesson. Take care everyone. Bye.